Hey everyone, and welcome back to my next video for the Voyager build series. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about painting. Now, when you're talking about painting, especially Star Trek kits, it seems like there's two ways you can go about doing it. You can paint it up to look like what you saw in the show, or you can paint it up to look like what the actual physical model itself looked like. Now, if you look at the original model of Voyager, it's a very, very light color. It's a lot lighter than this. This is just the primer coat I put on. But it's like a white gray. It's very light. And then there's other differences. The phasers on the show were kind of a rusty color. It was this dark kind of brick red color. On the CGI model, they're a very, very light tan color. So there's some differences there. What I'm going to do with mine is going to be a little bit of both. It's kind of going to be a love child, if you will, between the CGI model and the physical model. So for painting, all I'm going to do for my base coat is going to be Model Masters Light Ghost Gray. It's just an acrylic paint. And that's going to give me the color for the most part of what the CGI model was. Now on the CGI model, that was it. It was just a one-tone color. On the physical model, there was like hole plating coloring, where basically if you were to look on here, some of these panels here and there might be a little darker color or a lighter color. So that's what I'm going to be doing with mine. So I'm going to show you how to do that on this video. And I think I've got a couple parts here we'll show you. I've got my air booth right over here. It's a little loud, so I'm going to spray one strip and just kind of show you what it'll look like, and then turn the fan on and go to town on the rest of these, and then I'll show you how to do some of the panel or hole paneling. So I've got this is the spine, or if you build a lot of remote control airplanes, or airplanes in general, you might want to call this the turtle deck. Fun little fact for you. Anyways, so I'm going to paint this light ghost gray. So I've got my AC charged up and ready to go. My air compressor, that is anyways. And I've got a little bit of paint in here, and we've got it thinned just a little bit, because it kind of already comes... I got a problem over here with my hose. It kind of already comes pretty thin, a lot thinner than like an enamel paint, but I kind of want it to stretch it a little bit, so I need to thin it a little bit. So the only thing I've done to this piece is wash it and then hit it with some primer, and then I drilled a hole back here. This is going to be for one of the beacon lights, which we'll get into in a later episode. And I'm just going to paint it. So I'm using a Sotar 2020 to do this. And you're probably saying, if you know what this is, why in the heck are you using that? Well, my actual airbrush that I would have been using for this took a dump on me today. I'm trying to see if maybe a long soak in acetone is going to fix it. If it's not, this is all I got for the time being. So there we go. And yes, folks, there is paint coming out of this. All right. Light ghost gray, primer gray. When this dries, it's actually going to be a lot darker than how it looks right now. This has already been painted, and let's kind of move this to focus a little more on that. Alright, so this has actually already been painted light ghost gray, and here I've got just a primered piece. And you probably can't tell the difference, but I'm going to see if we can zoom in, if that'll help at all. And well, you can kind of see it. Light Ghost Gray down here on this piece kind of has a bluish color to it. It's got a very, very faint blue color. You can really only see it when you're putting it next to a more pure gray, like what a primer would come out as. And this is, in my eyes, almost identical what Voyager looked like on the TV show. So I'm going to get the rest of the pieces I've got down here painted in this first coat, and then we're going to come back and take a look at how to do some hole plating. So I'll be back in a bit. Alright, so as we can see, I've got my bottom of my primary hole here, and we're going to talk a little bit about how to add some detail to this guy. And we're going to do it by doing some hole plating. And basically, all I'm really doing is just giving the tone the hole a two-tone effect. And, you know, it just kind of makes it pop out a little bit. It makes it, you know, a little bit unique. So what I'm going to do, let's just start right here, maybe where you guys can kind of see what's going on. I'm going to start taping off some areas. Just kind of like that. And I'm just using the grid lines on the model itself. Like so. And about like that. And I've got a color mixed up that I'm using for my hole plating. And I just go over it real quick. You don't want like a really heavy coat. You just want to hit it a little bit. Take it off. And there you go. Kind of a little subtle effect. You can see I already did it over here on that side. So then we're just going to plug away at this. So I think it's kind of important to mix it up. I'm not really following any specific guide here as far as how you should do it. I think if you were, I apologize, I'm fighting some allergies today or something. I don't know what's going on. But a lot of people, when they do hole plating, which granted I was going to do the same thing, is just go for a darker color of what they used. Now, for me, I got to thinking about it, kept thinking about it, and decided that what I would really like instead is to have something a little bit different, something that kind of popped out, wasn't something you saw all the time. So I am actually going with a brownish gray, and so far I'm liking the results. And I'll show you guys something here in a second, excuse me, when I get this taped off. And that kind of has to do with how much of the paint you're actually using. Now on the first set I showed you, I went over very light. This one I'm going to do just a little bit more. Okay. Doesn't take a whole lot. Alright, and it's kind of tough to make out on camera, but it's just a little bit darker. Over here on this side you can kind of see it a little bit more. But I'm just kind of highlighting some of the features. I'm going to leave some gaps here and there. I'm definitely going to hit this piece. I think that would look nice having a different color. And you just kind of plug away at it. There's no real, there's no real way to go about doing it. I didn't sit down and sketch what I thought would look cool, although I suppose you could certainly do that. Just kind of what to me looks right or would feel right. I mean, since I'm already kind of breaking the rules here and going with a light brownish gray, I can pretty much do whatever I want, I think. I think the effect is pretty nice. It certainly kind of steps it up a little bit. A lot of guys will do a wash, and washes are cool. Washes aren't really what I'm going for in this one. I kind of just want, I want it to have some dimension to it. I want it to be more than just a big gray brick on my desk. So I kind of want, when people to look at it, I want them to kind of have to stop and kind of sit there and take a look back and kind of go, you know, wow, what's that? And, you know, kind of have them retake a look as to what they're looking at. And then, you know, look again and maybe realize they missed something they didn't see the first time. And so, and it's just blue painter's tape. Something, you know, you can pick up at Walmart or pretty much wherever else you want. This one might be kind of tricky just because of the curve. So, I'll tell you what. Because of this curve, I'm just going to add a couple extra pieces of tape is all. And just kind of work my way around it until I feel like I can live with it, which is about right there, I'd say. Get some more tape. I'm running out. I saw another version of Voyager that a guy had painted. I was just looking up some images, and he went with some brown highlights. They weren't as light as mine. His were pretty dark, and I like the effect, but I think this subtle brown will look a lot nicer. Gotta get one more piece on the bottom, and I can live with that. And that's really all there is to it. And it's kind of funny, I think, once it's done and you peel it off and you look at it and you kind of take a second and you see what you've done, and you kind of realize, hey, you know, that looks really good. And it's just a simple effect, really, of using some tape. I'm not the best painter out there in the world by any means. Guys out there are 10 times better than me as far as painting goes, but you'd be surprised at how much you can just cheat, really, and get the effect you want. There's a really good example of why you clean your tip every time. Let's show that again. Alright. Tape comes off. And that looks pretty nice. As you can see, as it dries, it kind of takes a little cooler color. And I don't think it's so far off from the hole that I need to try to go back and, you know, spray over it to try to lighten it down. I think that once that fully dries, which, I mean, these ones right here are already dry, I can touch those, and I really like the way that looks. So I'm going to extend this out to the rest of the bottom of the hole, and then we'll take a look at that. Alright, and here's the finished product. It's still a little wet right up here, so you can see it's, it's still a little wet right up there, so you can see some of the darker color, but it'll even out here in a minute, and that is what you end up with. And I really like it. It may not be canon, it may not be, you know, what you'll see on everything, but for my Voyager, I think that looks pretty darn cool. So I'm going to get to work and start doing this on the top section now. And the plan I think for today, I'm not sure if I'll be able to show you everything, but I want to be able to get everything hole plated, and then that's only going to leave me painting stuff like this little sensor array, which I haven't even got to painting, and this piece that'll go inside here, but I don't really have the paint for these parts yet. We've got these little sensor strips that go on certain sections of the hole in between the saucer section. I don't have paint for that, so as difficult it is for me to find time, I guess, to do stuff like this. I need to bust out at least getting this done on the whole ship today, and then I'm going to get some paints either ordered or, I don't know, my closest hobby shop is 60 miles, so it's kind of just easier to order it online. I need to get some paint for the phaser array. I think I said on the video that it was a rusty red color, but I looked at some more CG models and a lot of them show it as just a really dark gray, so I may end up going that route, but we'll see. So anyways, I'm gonna get to work on applying this to the rest of the hull, and let's take a look at that now. Alright, so after an entire day of painting, here is what I came out with. And overall, I'm pretty pleased with the progress. So, my saucer section, I can see how dark it is showing up on camera, but in real life it's a lot lighter than that. And I like it. It actually looks pretty subtle. You can see in like a couple areas where I actually went over the phaser strips, but that's fine because those are just going to get taped off and painted one straight color anyways. So, like right there, for instance. So, I think it came out pretty well. Our engineering hole, highlighted some of the areas there, and pretty pleased with it. And our little turtle deck here, which will just pop in right there when we get to that. This piece here, I actually just masked off everything and painted all that grid section, so I think that'll actually look pretty nice when it's all done. The nacelles, I just put in a couple strips in there to kind of make it look like there was some form of plating going on. And then these guys, I think, came out pretty nice. I masked them off just to hit that area and that area down there. So I think I am pretty much done with the main portion of painting. I still have to paint a bunch of little miscellaneous pieces, but those are the easy things. That'll, that's a couple coats here and there and you're done, and not very time consuming. So my next goal is going to be to turn that into something a lot larger, that little slit right there, and get this guy mounted up on a base so we can start doing some wiring. What was I going to say? And obviously we need to start pulling some of the tape off. Now, I got kind of impatient, and I pulled off the pieces of tape down here, and you can see, actually, I mean, it doesn't look incredibly great when you get that close, but if we kind of hold this up there to the light, those look like some pretty rockin' windows, if I do say so myself. So I think that came out pretty well. So I think I'm gonna pull the rest of the windows off of these, or the masking anyways, and the masking off of those, get her up on a stand, and then we can start trying to figure out assembly from there. So that'll do it for this video. I appreciate you guys watching, and stay tuned for the next part. We're gonna start making some progress here. It's gonna start running, so stay tuned for it. I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you next time.